Stuart Friesen to the extreme inside.
And you know what's going to happen? We're talking about the experience builds lap after lap. The momentum builds lap after lap. You know what else will build? That aggression and thinking, I can push it a little bit more. We're starting to see it.
Stuart Friesen pushed up the racetrack. 5 wide out of turn number 4. Atta baby. Andrew Ranger to the inside.
Ken Schrader rolling in that second spot of the outside line with all that going on behind him. Lapsevich somehow comes out of that in 4th. It's side by side right now with DJ Kennington and Stuart Friesen. They're going to try and make it 3 wide this time with Ranger on the bottom.
Slowly but surely, cars are trickling up to single file, but Jake Sheridan in the 64 is making tracks. So is Andrew Ranger down low, but what a couple of laps that was. We are 15 laps into the Pinty's 100.
It's all been Marc-Antoine Cameron. What more can you say for him? He has been strong since the drop of the green flag here tonight. In fact, the first drop of the green flag in practice this afternoon, he was quickest, and he's showing that speed again here with a big advantage over Ken Schrader and Gary Clute.
A lot of racing still to go, and I'll still maintain this. The one thing Cameron has not had to do is deal with anybody. Everybody else out there has raced side by side. They've had to go into lanes they didn't necessarily want to run. So while Marc-Antoine Cameron is having his way with this field, he's not feeling every part of the racetrack to see what that 96 can do.
Trayton Lapsevich made it side by side for the 3rd spot for a moment, but tucks back in line down in corner 3. And as they roll off of corner number 4, he's right there with DJ Kennington behind him and Stuart Friesen. The first battle side by side is Lassard and Ranger.
Raphael Lassard in that 8 machine. Deep in the top 10 in that number 8. Alex Tagliani holding down the 10th spot, but Dave Bailey trying to contest that. Bailey rolling around the bottom of the racetrack in the Transaxle 36, just ahead of Larry Jackson in the 84.
So things have settled down here a little bit as we approach lap number 20, coming up here this time by the flag stand.
So Cameron lower on the racetrack, but he's really starting to pitch that car sideways coming off the turn. Ken Schrader is as smooth as anybody out there in that APC number 3. Gary Clute running 3rd in the 59. Stuart Friesen still not content to run single file out there. He's trying to see where he can turn that 22 machine and get good bike coming off the corner.
21 on the board here in this first stage of racing. It's all Cameron over Schrader, Clute, Lapsevich, and then that battle continues on. DJ Kennington and Stuart Friesen have seen a lot of each other here in these first 21 laps.
A couple of legendary Canadian racers. Stuart Friesen, Niagara-on-the-Lake native. DJ Kennington from St. Thomas, Ontario.
Leader Marc-Antoine Cameron beginning to see the back of the pack where Dexter Stacey is right now, but that's going to close up here as we finish the last couple of laps in this first stage.
Just 2 laps in this stage number 1 before we get that segment break at lap 25. Things have settled down most of the way through the pack. Deep in the field, LP Dumoulin, the WeatherTech 47. He's exploring his options on the inside of the racetrack. Stuart Friesen making a run at DJ Kennington. Friesen continues to try to come off the corner and build enough momentum to make a challenge.
Trayton Lapsevich is starting to look a little bit more, I don't want to say aggressive, but like he's really feeling more confident in that number 20 machine. He's challenging, putting the pressure right now on Gary Clute, and he's working some different lines. He's trying to work it down the hill off of 3 and 4.
Definitely playing with things, seeing where he can find traction. I'm watching Mike Charret to see when he's going to flip the yellow, and it should be when the last car comes across the line. Glenn Stiers and Dexter Stacey. We should see that yellow flag displayed. And indeed, Chris Wright, race director here tonight, gives the traditional put it out signal. I believe they'll roll the scoreboard back to 25 laps complete. What a difference a start makes. The initial start, things were calm and clean. Then we have a restart. They were 5 wide off of turn number 4. And Greg, we see that action week in and week out here, but it's normally coming off of turn number 2. We don't often see them fan out that wide in turn 4, but we're seeing things we've never seen before here in the NASCAR Pinty series.
Well, those drivers might not be ready to be doing that off of corner number 2. We've seen enough problems with our own weekly divisions racing off of there. So 4 probably looks a little more doable right now at this point, but I guarantee you, we get down the closing laps, they'll be trying it at any corner.
Dexter Stacey going to get the free pass, and you're absolutely right. I mean, that's why that second restart was so wild. Drivers knew you got to take advantage when things are bunched up and try to pick off a spot. It's challenging to complete a pass here. So I believe Dexter Stacey will not have to wait behind the pace truck because it's a segment. They'll send him all the way around the pace vehicle. Mike Hennig, the pace truck driver tonight, I believe he is normally the pace car driver for the NASCAR Pinty Series. One of the nicest guys you'll ever see. And if you ever see a physical altercation on pit road in one of our races, Mike Hennig is usually one of the first people in there to clear it up. He's a menacing figure. So now drivers will be given the option on whether they want to pit. And I believe what they're saying is if you do not want to pit, pull to the inside of the racetrack. If you do want to pit, pull up to the high side. They'll exit in turn number 1 up to the flat of the racetrack and then make their way into the pits. I believe Andrew Ranger in the GM Paillet number 27 going that way. Alex Tagliani thought about it. Had second thoughts. Brandon Watson in the number 9 machine. LP Dumoulin in the 47. Aaron Turkey in the 99. So not a lot of takers.
Glenn Steyer's heading in, and I knew he was going to go because you could really see that car was a handful for him. I'm sure they're going to tighten that machine up. He was having a hard time getting off the corners, and I'm sure he'll have a chance to get things tightened up there in the Zero machine.
So I guess we're going red here on the front stretch. I can't see fuel being an issue. I mean, these drivers can go a lot longer than 100 green flag laps, but they'll pull them to a stop. Anything surprise you so far, Greg?
Yeah, honestly, and nothing against the drivers. I thought we'd see more spins or calamity to start this one, but everyone played it really cool and calm. And then that second restart, I wouldn't say aggressiveness, but just you can see the drivers ramping things up and becoming more and more confident. And to see it that early going 5 wide, that's what caught me off guard.
Yeah, and that'll come as we get later in the race. A lot of respect being shown right now. And if anyone watched the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivières, the most recent race, I mean, there was some carnage in that one. But this has always been a series that runs its road courses very similar to a short track style of racing. It's very physical.
So far, we haven't seen anyone really lay a fender to anyone else.
Larry Jackson, if we've got a shot, Spencer, on the front straightaway using a snow brush, I believe, to clear off the windshield of the number 84. It might have been a Swiffer sweeper. It might have been a snow brush. I'm not sure, but Larry Jackson doing some housekeeping down there.
He came prepared.
No kidding.
That's what I'm thinking.
He's hired. But I don't. These teams were surprised. They were running screens across the inlets to the radiators. I saw some different contraptions that they had put on these cars to try to make sure they didn't clog up. But if you've never been to Ohsweken Speedway, the track doesn't throw a lot of mud.
No, it doesn't. So it Some of it might not have been needed, but you want to come prepared because you just don't know, and you can still get up over the berm here, and we don't really have a cushion or anything, and it's very likely for cars to get up there. And you get up there, and yes, you can definitely get some clods of mud and dirt, so you got to prepare for the worst. And with this being a 100-lap race, you want to make sure that engine's kept cool enough to last you to the very end.
No, you're absolutely right, but as you can hear, most of these drivers have kept their cars running. Andrew Ranger the first to come back on the track. So the way they'll be lined up, if you choose to stay on the track, you keep your position. If you choose to go to the pits, you come back out in the same position you went in, but behind all the drivers that didn't pit. So Andrew Ranger was ahead of LP Dumoulin before they went into the pits. He's ahead of LP Dumoulin coming out of the pits. So there is no race on pit road or off pit road.
I was just going to say, there's no race to get out here. So we see Brandon Watson also getting back out there, LP Dumoulin, and Glenn Stiers. Aaron Turkey, I think, is the last car we've yet to see come back out.
I'm sure we'll see him momentarily.
What a big week for him.
Well, for those who don't know, Aaron Turkey took home the Quick Wick Hot Laps Dash for Cash last night. We had a 30-minute open practice for these Pinty Series cars. Aaron Turkey turned the fastest lap, picked up $1,500. So the way they will line up, Marc-Antoine Camirand, I believe, going to take the outside once again. He will set the pace. Kenny Schrader going to start second in the third. The 59 at Gary Clute is fourth. Third, Trayton Lapsevich is fourth in the number 20. DJ Kennington rounds out the top five, and that's 17. Aaron Turkey makes his way back from the pits. He'll rejoin the tail end of the field. For whatever reason, my timing and scoring is now showing 22 laps complete. But I believe they'll be able to sort that out.
Here we go.
Part of the allure to that outside groove is it's got much more bite for that initial launch. But look at Kenny Schrader contesting the lead with Marc-Antoine Camirand. He'll drive it deep down the inside of turn number 3. DJ Kennington even deeper on the inside.
4 wide off the corner again with Friesen on the outside of Clute there. Lassard was in that as well. As they continue on down the backstretch, Camirand, this is the closest he's had anyone near his back bumper.
Trayton Lapsevich taking advantage of Ken Schrader and DJ Kennington testing the waters down low. He'll head up to the outside, take up that second spot, but DJ Kennington has other plans.
Kennington down to the inside in corner number 1. Camirand on the outside. Here's a challenge for the lead off at 2. Camirand with a head of speed. He's got Lapsevich right behind him. He'll push in, trying to get over second.
Kennington still digging on the bottom of the racetrack, turning some pretty laps. You've really got to be gentle on the throttle on that inside. At the stripe, Camirand in first. The 20 of Trayton Lapsevich is second. Kennington holding down third. But what we're seeing out the window tells a much different story. They're all over each other.
Yeah, it's on right now as we get into the second stage. Ken Schrader started on the front row on that restart. He's gotten shuffled back to the 5th spot. 3 wide off the corner. Friesen, Kennington, and Lapsevich still all right there together.
Trayton Lapsevich, whoa, we're mixing it up off of turn number 4. Wallace Stacy and the 66 involved. He was swatting flies down the front straightaway in that 66, but everyone is straightened up and gathered up as Trayton Lapsevich looks for racing room to the inside of race leader Camirand.
What I really like about Marc-Antoine Cameron's run right now, he is carrying that car off the corner to perfection. Watch him off of corner number 4, just right out to the wall. The back end of the car doesn't step out at all. He's got perfect control, and that's where he can just get the power right to the track and stay in the lead.
Truthfully, it's all the things he was doing wrong last night they have corrected, and he looks great out there. But I love Trayton Lapcevich. Trayton said something fascinating to me this afternoon. He says, you know, there was a lot more grip than I thought there was going to be. Everybody else is like driving on an ice rink. Trayton Lapcevich, he'll take a stab for the lead.
First sight that Marc-Antoine Cameron has seen of someone edging in front of him, and now down the backstretch, Lapcevich has a little bit of an advantage, but Marc-Antoine Cameron continues strong on the outside, and now Stuart Friesen has worked his way into this fight.
Stuart Friesen going to look to the middle of a turn number 4, not much to work with there, but he'll pick up the second position.
Up the banking they all go, single file. Stuart Friesen now as Glenn Stiers loops around in corner number 4. He'll keep the foot in the throttle, and it's going to work it up the banking to get out of the way. The leaders will work by. We're still under the green.
Stiers trying to get rolling up there. He's got the wheels cranked hard to the left. He just couldn't get any forward bite. Now he'll get the bite that he needed, but Glenn Stiers is down a lap.
And good job by the drivers back there to work around him as he got back onto the racing surface. Meanwhile, Lapcevich into second.
Look at this battle side by side for 10th. Kevin Lacroix, the most ferocious competitor this series has ever seen, with Dave Bailey, the most ferocious fender dirt car driver this province has ever seen, racing it out side by side for the 10th spot.
Lacroix down to the inside of him, down in corner number 3. Larry Jackson right behind him, and here comes Andrew Ranger as well. He was one of those cars that made a stop over in the pit area, and he was someone that was quick since he unloaded, but really not working through the field like I thought he would after that stop.
He's having his challenges out there, but look, they'll go 20 laps without encountering lap traffic. This field is tightly bunched and competitive as Cameron got real sideways off of turn number 4. Lapcevich closing the gap.
It's one of the first times I've seen Cameron that sideways off of 4. He's feeling the pressure from Lapcevich. Friesen's right there, Kennington and Schrader right now the top 5.
Marc-Antoine Cameron has been one of the fastest cars everywhere this series has gone this season. He hasn't always had the results to show for it, but when we were out in Newfoundland, Marc-Antoine Cameron used up Trayton Lapcevich on a couple of late race restarts, so Lapcevich may look to may take some liberties when it comes to racing for the win here tonight.
He's holding tight right now, and again, he's working that car off the banking as we see a lot done on a Friday night. There's different drivers that will use that momentum of going all the way up to the top and then cutting it down and getting that run down the hill, and that's something Trayton's starting to play with more and more.
Lapcevich right up on the rear bumper of Cameron as they approach the slower traffic of Dexter Stacey. Talked about it earlier. Cameron has really only run the line he's running right now. He hasn't had to venture off it. We almost had a new race leader at the stripe. That time it was Cameron by just a tiny margin.
Dexter Stacey right in front of them, so they are going to have to deal with the lap traffic here as Trayton Lapcevich got a really good run down to the bottom, but Cameron, can he keep the run on the outside? He'll continue to lead by the narrowest of margins.
Down into turn number 1, Cameron right up behind Dexter Stacey in the 92. He'll look to the inside of the 92. The 20 looks to the inside of Cameron.
Cameron will clear the 92 and work right back up the hill. Here comes Trayton Lapcevich, tight down to the inside wall. Stuart Friesen following in his tire tracks as the top 3 now have cleared that lap car of Dexter Stacey.
Down through 1 and 2, back to the high side of the racetrack go the leaders. Stuart Friesen having a poke to the inside off the corner. DJ Kennington, he's trying to clear the Dexter Stacey 92. Now here comes Ken Schrader to do the same.
Things heating up there inside the top 10 as Kennington, Schrader, Sheridan all right there at it. Some good action going on throughout the top 10, but here comes a great run for Trayton Lapsevich off of 2, maybe the best one he's had yet.
He really checked up to bring it down into 3 and 4. He wants to stay in the dark stuff where you can get some bite. Stuart Friesen going to try to size things up, but Lapsevich couldn't get back to the throttle.
Friesen had a good run going, had to check to the outside of Lapsevich before he ran into the back bumper of the number 20. It's door to door for the lead down the back stretch into 3.
Cameron continuing to lead the way. Now Stuart Friesen sliding. Oh, trouble right in front of Lapsevich. The 66 of Wallace Stacey goes around. And that'll bring a yellow flag. Another thing, our fans tuning in that watch a lot of Pinty Series races you might not be used to. How about the light bars on all of the fence posts? When we go yellow flag here at Ohsweken Speedway, the drivers know instantly because every third fence post around the racetrack has those LED light bars. You can see them there in that shot there. We got a great shot of the LED light bars. A fantastic safety innovation. Oh, this will be fun. This is a 3-lap sprint to the final segment break of the race. The final 50 laps is one straight run to the checkered flag. So if you don't think these drivers will be up on the wheel for this one,
looks like Dexter Stacey will get the wave around.
and I think Wallace Stacey is going to stay out there with the damage on that 66, nurse that car to the next segment, and then go into the pits for some attention. So pit road opens this time. It just came over the radio to these team spotters. This racetrack is holding up very, very well. Zigger Van Tile and the crew have done a great job. You can see in the corners that shot is perfect. You can see the shine off the back straightaway where most of the cars are running. Well, where the track is not shiny, Greg, there is still a lot of bite.
Yeah, and you look at that shot, and especially from a distance, we talked about this on Friday night, for even a dirt fan, you may look at that and think, oh, that's rubbered up. Well, it's not. It's what, as Clinton says, it's got that polish on it, that shine. And there is some bite in there somewhere that you can find. And right now they're trying to find whether it's up top. Some of the drivers trying to work right down to the bottom, the inside of that track, because the end of the night, as dry as this track can be, you can walk down there around the blocks in the infield, and there's still some spots where you don't even want to step because you're going to gather some mud on your shoes. So there is some tack. You just got to work around to try and find it.
Plenty of moisture. Moist. It's one of those words, it's creepy when you say it wrong.
I have a niece that you can't say it around her. She gets totally disgusted. So I say it as much as possible.
Well, there's some fabulous memes. Pace truck going to vacate the racetrack on the back straightaway down to the inside of the concrete barriers. No barriers on the inside of the racetrack except in the corners. Let's see what Trayton Lapsevich can do on the inside in the number 20. Marc-Antoine Cameron, the race leader. He gets to fire first in the 96. Coming back to the green flag, a 3-lap sprint to the stage.
These restarts have gotten exciting in the last couple of times at it, and here they go again. They fan out. Ken Schrader got sideways through the corner trying to gather that car up.
Trayton Lapsevich has cleared the 96 of Cameron. He'll lead down into turn number 3. Cameron, not to be denied, rolls up to the outside. They'll race door to door down the front straightaway. New race leader, it's Trayton Lapsevich.
First time that the 96 has not been to the top of the board when we've crossed the start-finish line. It's been a dominant performance, but now Trayton Lapsevich to the top of the pile over Cameron, and a good 3-car fight behind that.
Kenny Schrader has really slid back in that 36 machine. Not a good restart for him. And now that he's in front, Trayton Lapsevich still using that line where he comes down the racetrack on corner exit.
Close call there for Ken Schrader and Larry Jackson as they made slight contact on the front stretch. Schrader tucks back in, and now he'll try and work his way back up to the top 5.
Should be a non-issue, as I believe we'll go yellow flag for that second segment. Maybe not.
So Lapsevich out in front over Cameron, Friesen, Sheridan, and Lessard to the top 5 for the first time.
You know what? It's possible they considered that lap 47 yellow the segment break. We don't have communication from NASCAR officials, but it is possible.
So we continue on, and it's Trayton Lapsevich out in front over Cameron, Friesen. DJ Kennington's been shuffled out of the top 5. Ken Schrader got shuffled out as well. One driver that's starting to make a move to the front as now the caution flag comes out. Just about to say it was Andrew Ranger. He's up to 12th.
Yeah, he's looking pretty racy in the GM Paillet number 27 as the field fans out. Under yellow, rolling out of the throttle. How about it, folks? Do we have any Trayton Lapsevich fans in the house tonight? Young man, a third-generation racer out of Grimsby, Ontario. His grandfather, Joe Lapsevich, raced at Speedway Park. His dad, Jeff Lapsevich, raced everywhere, all over North America. Uncle Jim, Uncle Joe. A bold move on that last restart, putting Trayton Lapsevich to the lead. So they will draw the field in. I believe they're going to send Glenn Stiers around the field. He will get the free pass. And once they get him all the way around the field, around the pace truck, to the tail end of the line, then they'll be able to open pit road and let drivers decide if they want to go into the pits or if they're going to stay out for that final run to the checkers.
A couple of the Ohsweken regulars hanging on the outside where Glenn Stiers was trying to get the wave around there, and they're used to Friday night rules.
That's what you do under yellow. You run way up on the outside in the fluff that hasn't been touched yet. So with these general tires that they're running out there, they're not generating any heat. The surface of Ohsweken Speedway is pure clay. You are hard pressed to find rocks out there. There is nothing abrasive in the dirt, and the tires these cars are running on, from what I understand, were more designed for the mile-long fairground tracks like DuQuoin and Springfield, which at those speeds and on that particular surface, they will generate heat and they will wear down. But here on the Ohsweken clay, not really something you're going to experience. And it looks like Andrew Ranger might be going into the pits again. Indeed, he is. Brandon Watson going to send it pit side. Brian Cathcart, he's on the fence. Now he's going to the pits. Trevor Monahan as well. And now I believe we will stop on the front straightaway. So normally, folks, we would be joined throughout the show by Clinton Jeffrey here at Ohsweken. He roams pit side, roams the infield, chases down all the action, does our interviews. Todd Lewis couldn't be here tonight, so Clinton Jeffrey is filling in the role of Todd Lewis for the TSN broadcast, which is going to be fantastic. But we've had to give him up for our own purposes. So I'm stuck with you.
You'd love it.
Last night, our announcer's booth looked more like a buffet.
Oh, it was fantastic.
We had food brought to us from one end of this bench to the other.
Burger Barn treated us well. The folks selling the Navajo tacos treated us well. The Ice Mobile shunned us.
You know, it's a sloppy delivery. But by the time you get up there, I don't want to see someone bringing me an ice cream cone, licking their hand because it's running down the...
Hey, I'm not too proud, buddy.
Oh, love me some soft serve.
How things have changed from one night ago, because you look at the first practice session last night, and even in the second one, Andrew Ranger, Brandon Watson were 1 and 2, and then 3 and 4 in the second session. They have been the ones headed to the pit area tonight. Last night, I would have said they'd be running up front.
Yeah, and that's what's fun about this series. That's what's fun about racing in general, but particularly dirt racing. You can be a hero one day, and the next day, you barely look like you belong. But they're going in to make those adjustments, and I hope people realize the amount of finesse required to drive these cars on this racetrack. You can't hit the gas. There's just no traction. So these drivers are really having to manipulate these cars, working the brake, the gas, and be pretty gentle.
The only car I see with any tire marks right now is Gary Clute. Everyone else seems pretty clean. But you know what? We haven't seen any big calamities just yet. But at the end of this stage, that's where $25,000 gets handed out. Things are about to pick up. And if you're a driver that's maybe just outside of the top 10, get ready. Your race is far from over, because when they start racing at the front, anything can happen. I think this still may come down to attrition and who can just run a nice, smooth, steady race and stay out of the trouble, because things are going to pick up big time here in the next 50 laps.
Traditionally, in a NASCAR Pinty Series race, you start the race and there's a little bit of coming and going, and then you get that lull. You get the middle of the race where things kind of sort out and it gets a little bit boring, and you think, boy, what's going to happen? This race really needs a shakedown, a yellow flag. Time in and time out. By the end of it, it always comes down. Oh, we got to do our final giveaway too. But by the end of it, it generally comes down to fireworks, and we get those exciting finishes. So, folks, if you have the answer to this trivia question, you've got to go down and see Graydon Bunn just at the start-finish line in the orange and white hat. This one is for a pack from Larry Jackson. And the question is, when and where was Larry Jackson's career best finish in the NASCAR Pinty Series? When and where was Larry Jackson's career best NASCAR Pinty Series run? Go down and see Graydon Bunn in the orange and white hat right at the start-finish line in row number 1 if you have the answer to that one. I actually know the answer to that one. Which surprises me, Greg, because I don't know much.
At least you're willing to admit it.
Well, you know.
I should make mention to our live audience here, 50-50. The winning amount will be $5,805.50. That will be drawn at the conclusion of this race.
So even Chris Wright, the race director, kind of walking through saying, what do you think? Are all these tires going to fire off on this restart? What can happen in some dirt racing, because you maximize the heat in these tires, so once you cool them off under yellow, you take back off again and the tires just don't react the way you want to. There's different terms for it: glazing over, not firing back off. We're going to see, folks. Trayton Lapcevich leads the way in the number 20. Marc-Antoine Camirand in the 96. This is the sprint to the finish of the Pinty's 100.
Back under power, and a good launch there for Trayton Lapcevich, starting on the outside there as the leader. But here they come down to the inside. Marc-Antoine Camirand and Jake Sheridan. How about this? The rookie driver in third.
We haven't said much about Jake Sheridan, but what a great job he's doing in the car that Christopher Bell was slated to drive, but Bell had some travel issues. Jake Sheridan, a late model racer from Ontario. His brother is a standout in dirt sprint cars, and he has looked right at home behind the wheel of that 64 IHL machine, normally piloted by Mark Dilley.
Raphael Lessard's doing a nice job inside the top 5 as well, and after qualifying in the heats, I thought he was really going to struggle here tonight, but he's got this thing figured out and into the top 5.
DJ Kennington back to the inside, the super clean 17. Rafael Lazard up on the high side. That's the battle for fifth. Behind them, they're 3 wide.
Yeah, they are. Kevin Lacroix in the middle with Clute on the outside, Schrader on the bottom. Tagliani running right behind Lacroix right now in that white and bright blue machine.
Wow, Kevin Lacroix just tried to clear himself around Gary Clute. Clute still up on the high side of that 74 as they are running out of room on the backstretch.
We haven't seen a crumpled car yet. I think we're on the verge. The storm is starting to brew the middle part of the pack, and there's a good fight right now between Cameron Friesen and Sheridan as well.
The fiberglass is gonna fly. Trayton Lapsevich trying to drive away and leave the battling all for second on back. Doing a good job so far. 59 laps be complete this time at the stripe. 41 remain.
Wallace Stacy drops to the inside as leader Trayton Lapsevich works by him. Tagliani trying to move his way up through the field back mid-pack. He's to the outside of Ken Schrader right behind this battle between Lacroix and Gary Clute.
Boys, if you want to have some fun, boys and girls, watch Gary Clute and Kevin Lacroix. Lacroix is getting racy up there. He's pushing the envelope of the 74. He used up Gary Clute just a little bit, and Clute is driving the wheels off that 59, trying to get back at the Napa Auto Parts 74 machine of Lacroix. Oh, he'll touch the corner. Kevin Lacroix goes around in turn number 2.
Bergeron spins as well. Looks like everyone else will get around. Still under the green flag as the leader works into 1 and 2. And now under the caution.
Yellow flag displayed as JP Bergeron takes off. Greg, that yellow was forming for a couple of laps.
The storm was coming. You could see it in the distance. And finally, Kevin Lacroix went around.
And
here it is.
we'll have a look at the replay. A little bit of contact there between Clute and Lacroix. Once you get this car off balance, they're right on the razor's edge of control. And to back that up a bit, Kevin Lacroix was on the inside of Gary Clute for a couple of laps, and he kind of rubbed Clute up, got him out of the groove to take the spot. So I don't know that Clute took a run at him that way, but I think he wasn't too concerned as Kevin Lacroix pulling up alongside Gary Clute to invite him for breakfast. Table for one.
Here we go again, another look at it. You're right, it just takes the slightest touch to get the back end of that car to turn around. And then Bergeron in the reaction spins. Nice job by Alex Tagliani. He could have crumpled up the front of his car.
There's been some really good heads-up driving for a lot of drivers in the field out there. They've done a good job. That beautiful Napa Auto Parts 74 of Kevin Lacroix, a multi-year deal. It's a long-term deal that Lacroix signed with Napa. Not sure. Okay, so Kevin will get his spot wherever he fell into line. So unlike some short track racing where if you're in the yellow, you go to the back, with NASCAR, if you were in a spin, you get your spot wherever you fell into line and resumed a caution speed.
And the yellow was for, I think, Bergeron, because he was the only car still stopped on the track right there and come to a halt, and the leaders were bearing down. Otherwise, I think they probably would have just stayed green flag racing from what we've seen tonight. And Lacroix was able to keep it going.
Chris Wright has given the leeway to the drivers to get themselves sorted out, and really I think he's doing them a favor because restarts really bunch the field up and can create some carnage, which you may or may not be about to see.
Got to give a shout out to the local drivers again. You got Aaron Turkey up there. I think he's going to, he's right now 14th. Dave Bailey 15th. They've just been patient. And again, this is a situation where, look, they're up there in the cooler clay.
They know all the little tricks, all the things that you can try to do to get a little bit of an advantage. I don't know if I can share this information.
Uh-oh.
Andrew Ranger pulled into the pits, and the team dumped a garbage pail of dirt into the trunk to add rear weight.
Hey.
I can't confirm this, but a reliable source.
But you're not denying it.
Now let's look at the 27 as it goes by. It's still up in the air, but I mean, what are you going to do? How are you going to make that adjustment? Caden Lapsevich, the crew chief on the 27, his little brother Trayton doing a good job out in front in that number 20, leading the way over Marc-Antoine Camerand in the 96. Business about to pick up once again. 61 laps in the book, 39 laps to go here in the Pinty's 100 at Ohsweken Speedway. Really good launch by Trayton Lapsevich, and Jake Sheridan was up on the wheel to take advantage as well. They're 4 wide through 1 and 2, now 3 wide on the backstretch.
And Lapsevich had a handful up there in corner number 2 as there was contact with he and Camerand. Here they come off the 4th corner. Lapsevich out in front. They're stacked 3 wide behind that.
Alex Tagliani is on the march, rubbing it up with Raphael Lessard for position. He'll look to the inside of Stuart Friesen. Look at that. He was up there battling for 3rd and 4th. Now he's battling for 5th. Now he's battling for 7th.
Someone trying to make a march back towards the front is Ken Schrader, and Lessard's got some sort of body work hanging off the left side of the 8 machine as they come down the front straightaway.
Not a big deal. Fiberglass bodies on these race cars. So that, well, what the heck is that? That might be the right side of someone else's race car.
Just thinking that right there. And look at Andrew Ranger rolling on the bottom trying to get by a few cars.
Oh, Mike Gowdy in turn number 4 goes around. Oh, Aaron Turkey goes around. Contact from J.P. Bergeron. And we see our first crumple up of the week. It was contact between Aaron Turkey and Michael Gowdy going into turn number 3. Sent a couple of drivers around. J.P. Bergeron really didn't have anywhere to go. Glenn Stiers just locked him up and slid to a stop. I believe he and Gowdy will both be able to carry on.
Aaron Turkey with that damage on the left front. And here we'll have a look at the replay.
Up in the very top right corner. Did that just happen?
Yeah, that happened. I didn't think you saw that.
Okay, no, I was okay, wow, all at the same time.
Yeah.
No, I was looking up because I saw Gowdy. Gowdy sent it deep down into turn 3.
Yeah, I didn't see what caused it, but I did see Tagliani go around there, and 2 incidents at the same time. But it's Bergeron that takes the worst of it. Here's another look at the spin-off of 4.
Yeah, Alex Tagliani on the inside of Lessard just loses traction, nearly clips Andrew Ranger.
Great job by
Gary
Clute.
does a nice job. Man, oh man.
Dave Bailey gets things woed up.
Folks, after the races tonight, the pits are going to be a lot of fun. Head over to the pit area. I believe there's live music going to be over at the stage. And this, Glenn Stiers and Clinton Jeffrey have really set this event up to be a festival, a 2-day festival. We had the Canadian Sprint Car Nationals last night, some phenomenal racing. Of course, the Pinty's 100 here tonight, and this is a 3-year deal. This is going to happen for minimum 2 more years, and I expect with the reaction we've got. How about it, race fans? Who wants to see this go on for another couple of years? Who's having a good time here tonight at Ohsweken Speedway? What a crowd. This may be the biggest crowd ever assembled for an oval track race for the NASCAR Pinty Series. Of course, if you remember way back when the Canada Day shootout, Greg at Cayuga Speedway, I mean, that was a huge crowd, but that was a bunch of NASCAR stars come up to race with CASCAR. But since since NASCAR came on board in 2007, I've been to all the races with the exception of 1. Well, maybe 2 now. But this is a whale of a crowd. Thanks so much for coming out and making this event as special as it should be.
And the atmosphere is something you can't replace either. As we'll have another look at Aaron Turkey going around, and Bergeron just plowed into the left front of the 99 Nitro 54 variety ride. And Bergeron going on the flatbed up in corner number 4.
And I got to say hello to the people who are texting me and messaging me. I appreciate it. I sometimes get to commenting on it, and sometimes I don't, but I always appreciate hearing from people. I do want to share Jordan Hill and Haley Hill here tonight. Jordan was competing in the crate sprint car division. Haley gave birth to their baby girl, who is here at the races 2 days ago. And had her here at Ohsweken Speedway today. They missed last night's race, Greg, but they were out for tonight.
How dare they miss last night?
I know, right?
Get the little headphones on and everything.
I was brought up at the racetrack, and look how I turned out.
Yeah, maybe you want to check your plans there, Jordan.
See, like Scooby-Doo running. Oh, Muffin. Can you imagine if we could do sound effects?
No.
What a package we would be.
Sound effects and a telestrator.
Well, yeah, we've told that story. I'm still a little bit chapped over that. We're getting a telestrator, but you can't use it. You are not mature enough to use it, Adam. He's not wrong.
So Aaron Turkey continues on even with the hit, and how about Ken Schrader? He wasn't a part of anything on the front stretch, was he?
No, but maybe they just felt there was more to be gained. Maybe they saw how much ground Andrew Ranger was making up with a trunk load of dirt.
Maybe he got his own trunk load of dirt.
You never know. That car is sitting a little bit low in the back.
Yeah, I guess there's a minimum weight, but there really isn't a maximum weight. "65 laps up on the scoreboard right now. 35 to go in the first running of the Pinty's 100 here at Ohsweken Speedway. JP Bergeron's machine up on the flatbed. They're just making the final adjustments to get him up there and secured.
We will give a shout out to Chantel Kalika, tuning in from Saskatchewan. Raced with us in the Western Swing. It's fun, all the different events we go to, and local talent comes and races. Of course, tonight, as you've mentioned, we've got Dave Bailey, Aaron Turkey, Michael Gowdy in the 38. So we see the damage to the Rousseau number 1 of JP Bergeron. Tough night for that young man out of Quebec. Doing an impressive job this year, one of our Jostens Rookie of the Year contenders, alongside Brandon Watson in the 9, Wallace Stacy in the 66, Glenn Stiers in the 0. And problem with Glenn Stiers up there in 3 and 4, unless he was just asked to stop there and wait for the field to go by, which is possible. You would think, Greg, from our vantage point where we can see virtually everything that goes on, that we'd be more on the ball.
Yeah, it's us.
Yeah, it's true.
That'd be out of character.
That gotta be me.
Ken Schrader and Raphael Lessard both went to the pit area, and those are cars that were running 6th and 7th when the caution flag came out. So they obviously felt like 35 laps left to go. They still had something for the leaders if they could make some adjustments, and have decided
as I'm going to point to Andrew Ranger in that 27. Yeah. He pitted earlier and it didn't help. He got nowhere. They went in this time. So if you go back to the pits after the race, folks, please be careful. There have been a few holes dug in our pit area, and it's been used for ballast, possibly in the back of some of these race cars. But what is lacking from these cars in this race is rear grip. These drivers can't get back to the throttle. There's just not enough grip. They're hard tires. They're not building up any heat. So anything you can do to increase the rear grip. I heard some drivers talking about pulling a plug wire off and running on 7 cylinders.
Yeah, we've seen that in the dirt world when a 358, say, for example, in the modifieds can beat the big blocks because just that little bit less horsepower, less wheel spin can create a faster race car. Overall laps are quicker. So, yeah, hey, being down a cylinder might not be a bad thing here.
It's moments like this I appreciate the fact that we're only counting green flag laps tonight. Looks like everything is cleaned up there in turn number 4. A little bit of oil dry put down, which really isn't that big a deal on a dirt track. Any fluids that are down there, a little bit of oil dry will soak up anything that's there, and it'll basically be a non-issue in no time.
Looks like we'll still be another couple of laps at least.
How about that super clean DJ Kennington number 17? Just a beautiful design on that race car. I'm trying to remember the story. I know he ran it at Barrie in 2012, but for some reason I thought I remembered him never wanting to go back to that again. I could be mistaken, but what a beautiful machine. I mean, all the cars out here, very presentable in this one.
I like the marketing idea. I mean, kind of same lines as Eric Jones riding the Tide Ride at Bristol when they had the dirt down as well. Super clean. Well, Jake Sheridan's been a great story up there in that 3rd spot. Wasn't even scheduled to drive that machine until yesterday, and now he's right up there in the top 3.
Yeah, there was talk about a couple of drivers maybe filling the seat. One of the drivers mentioned was Jake Hooker, who ran in the test last week and drove Kenny Schrader's 3 car and helping McCall Racing with the setup. But they couldn't, there was no way to get him licensed for NASCAR. Well, Jake Sheridan was already NASCAR licensed, already familiar with dirt racing, already affiliated with that program, so it checked a lot of boxes. A great young man out of Mount Bridges, Ontario, a 2nd-generation talent. Of course, his dad, Ron Sheridan, won a lot of races down at Delaware Speedway. Sam Fellows is having a good week out there in the 98 machine. Curb records, Jim Bray brings those cars to the racetrack. Jim Bray is the oldest licensed pilot in Canada. Did you know that?
I did not.
89 years old. He just renewed his pilot's license. Now, he said that's unofficial, but the doctor said to him, I don't know of anybody your age who has a license to fly. So he says, I don't know if that's accurate. I said, Jim, if I walked onto an airplane and looked up in the cockpit and you were sitting there flying and someone told me that's the oldest pilot in the world, I believe them. That man has so much history in his brain.
Yeah. A legend in Canadian motorsports, well, in North American motorsports.
And his memory is accurate. Like, if you make a mistake in something historic, he will correct it. He will tell you what actually took place, and we're going back to the 50s, 60s. We're going back.
think they're still working up in 4 with the fluid that's down there. That's been the delay.
I thought they were going to put down a pylon. This way, that way. The other thing you can use in that situation, why does it look like a swimming pool was...
I know. Exploded down there.
The other thing you can do is bring out a backhoe with a load of dirt.
I thought you were going to say a match.
Oh, if it's fuel, light it up.
I've seen that happen.
Yeah, me too. But yeah, if you were to fill a bucket full of dirt on one of those big earth movers, now that person, that is the kitty litter box. Like someone took the kitty litter box out of their basement and has brought it to turn 4.
I was waiting for a cat to hop out when he opened the lid.
Oh. I want to see the first person to touch their foot on that wet track is going to slide about 20 feet. If you've ever walked on a dirt track that's been run in like this and then water gets on it,
oh yeah,
it is actually the slipperiest surface known to man. It looks like Cousin Eddie when he took that little flying saucer in Christmas Vacation. Greg, go do it.
No thanks. Yeah, it was actually Clark.
It
wasn't
was
it?
Clark.
He
That's
burnt
right.
the bottom right out of the small little disc. Cousin Eddie couldn't do it because of the metal plate in his head.
That's
Remember?
right.
Come on.
Of that whole movie, I never understood that line. That's right, where he says bingo right afterwards. Every other part of that movie gets my approval. In fact, whenever I say I don't know to my wife or she says it to me, it usually ends with I don't know, Margot. Remember that part?
Yeah.
I love old movies.
That's a lot of kitty litter. Yeah, look, they're sliding down the banking there.
Oh, yeah.
I want to see you do a belly flop from the top of the banking down.
If you gave me a crazy carpet, I would do it. Because I'm a good sport that way. So we'll be able to see as the drivers run through it how slick it actually is. We go back to yellow flag conditions. Now that will make a bigger mess of windshields than anything coming off the surface of the racetrack so far tonight. Because these drivers needed a few more challenges, Greg.
Need a chicane in corner 4.
Mm-hmm. Let's take a quick break here. When we come back, we'll do some more NASCAR Pinty Series racing. Drivers continuing to work in turn number 4. So with this recent turn of events, Dave Bailey up into the top 10. Larry Jackson in the 8th spot. Dave Bailey 9th. Kevin Lacroix still in the top 10. Sam Fellows, fresh off his career best 6th place finish at the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivières. It's one thing I've always been very proud of with the NASCAR Pinty Series is that it's a well-rounded championship. A lot of road races. You've got road courses, street courses, short tracks, and now we can add dirt track.
And the half mile at Delaware is something a little bit bigger, a little more speed there. It's a good mix, not just the tight bull rings either.
If you haven't been to Delaware Speedway for that year-end race in September, book yourself a camping spot or a hotel room. There is going to be great racing. They put on a big concert the night before the races, then a couple of nights of racing. It was an absolute blast last year. That's Delaware Speedway. Next stop on this schedule takes the teams to Circuit Icar in Mirabel, Quebec, then Canadian Tire Motorsport Park.
Lights are off on the pace truck.
Trayton Lapsevich got a fantastic launch last time at the green flag. He waited and waited, and then when he finally took off, he just got a level of grip that Marc-Antoine Cameron just couldn't match. Let's see if Stuart Friesen able to keep himself glued to the back bumper of that number 20.
Back under the green they go. Off into corner 1. Lapsevich up the hill, 3, 4 wide.
Stuart Friesen getting a launch off of turn 2. He looks to the inside of Trayton Lapsevich. He'll have to stay in line. Larry Jackson just sending it into the outside. Look at the field accordion through 3 and 4.
And look who's up to 3rd, Adam. Andrew Ranger, with all he's been through here tonight. He looked very average in the opening laps, but he's up there challenging.
Ranger looking good up there just ahead of his teammate Marc-Antoine Cameron, DJ Kennington. Whoa, Friesen launches it off the banking in turn number 3. He'll lose a couple of spots. Trayton Lapsevich opening up a big gap on the rest of the field.
That's good car control, though. He could have lost a ton of more spots, and he's still right up there in the thick of it with Cameron and Ranger in the 4th position. So a nice save by the driver of the Mr. Transmission 22.
Andrew Ranger driving it deep right up to the top of the banking in turn number 3. Cameron looks to the inside off of turn 4. Stuart Friesen going to take advantage and drive to the outside. Oh, trouble.
Dexter Stacy, sorry, Adam went around in front of a pack of cars. He'll keep going.
Gets that car pointed in the right direction. Good for Dexter Stacy. Trayton Lapsevich running a line that only Jake Sheridan is out there really attempting. Look at this battle for second between Andrew Ranger, Stuart Friesen, and Marc-Antoine Cameron.
I was just about to say Ranger and Friesen are starting to really kick the rear end out of these cars and really drive them hard off the corner, trying to get the advantage as it's 71 laps on the board this time by.
I see a lot of similarities in Stuart Friesen and Andrew Ranger. They're just two naturally gifted drivers in various types of race cars, various types of situations, and we're getting a treat watching them race side by side.
Schrader up into the 8. Trevor Monahan collected as well. Wallace Stacy goes around. We're still under the green. With the leaders bearing down, everyone's going to keep rolling. Oh, this should be interesting.
Goodness gracious, Rafael Lazard not coming up to speed very well in that number 8 machine. He might have a flat left rear tire. Oh, baby. Bad news for Marc-Antoine Cameron. He's got a stomp on the brakes.
Look at Stuart Friesen, Andrew Ranger door to door coming off of corner number 4. Monahan goes around right in front of leader Trayton Lapsevich.
That will force a yellow flag. Is it just me, or do those cars look really fast as they go by Trevor Monahan?
Wow.
In turn number 2.
There's a lot to unpack there in the last couple of laps. Look at Rafael Lazard, left rear flat. He's still nursing that one around. Kind of surprised he didn't. Well, I guess they need to wait until they get the okay to go to the pit area.
Yes, they have to wait for the pits to open.
Here we go with the replays. First up, Schrader drifts up and tags the left rear of Lessard, and Monahan got collected in that. And then there, the left rear cuts down as he's trying to swing it around. So Schrader just got hot down in 1 and 2, and then there was Cameron, got boxed in behind Lessard up in corner number 3.
Quite a turn of events over that lap. I just got a message on Facebook that my son Connor wants a shout out from the backstretch. I want you to clean your room. Let's see what happens first.
You just gave in. You mentioned his name.
I told him I wanted a clean room.
That's a shout out, though. Good luck.
No, I think that's a shout at.
Oh, a shout out. Okay.
It's 10:46, Greg.
Oh, yeah. We're doing well, though. Mm-hmm. The coffee, I think, has helped.
It is helping. We have an unwritten rule here at Ohsweken Speedway that at 10:30, we come unhinged. I mean, it's well past my bedtime. It's well past Greg's bedtime. And for some reason, things get a little stranger after 10:30 at night. But hey, what a great show.
And things are just heating up. The way Stuart Friesen and Andrew Ranger were starting to race, you can feel it here in the last 10 laps. It's going to get even more intense.
And it's still clean racing. I mean, it's good, hard racing. You can just see they're pushing a little harder. They're not as worried if they drift up into the car beside them. A little bit of rubber marks on the side of the 22 with Stuart Friesen. I'll tell you, Jake Sheridan, though, in that 64, what a great job he's doing. That car is clean as can be out there.
And we've got some drivers on different agendas here. Stuart Friesen, he came to win. I mean, every driver came to win, but Stuart Friesen definitely came just to win. So did Jake Sheridan. And you've got some drivers out there that are competing for points tonight. I'm sure they're all going to hang it out to win this first ever race on dirt, but a couple of guys out there probably don't care much about how their cars finish, as long as they win.
I think you're absolutely right. And we're going to benefit from that as the green flag flies once again. Lapsevich with a good jump. Stuart Friesen kept a nice pace with him. Jake Sheridan trying to get to the outside of the 22. Nice job by Stuart Friesen to get up in front of the 64 Sheridan. Top 3 nose to tail with Andrew Ranger working the inside in the 4th spot.
Look who's creeping just outside the top 5. Dave Bailey, Larry Jackson, Kevin Lacroix's back in this. Oh, 3 wide. They're going to almost stack up into one. I thought they were going sideways.
It's possible that Kevin Lacroix knows that he's beside Gary Clute, but that can't be.
Yeah, they had their issues earlier on. As we continue on out in front, it's all Trayton Lapsevich over Friesen, Sheridan, Ranger, and DJ Kennington. And the hometown favorite, Dave Bailey, is lurking around right now.
Dave Bailey's got a choice to make. DJ Kennington on the high side, Cameron on the inside, or does he make it 3 wide? He's going to keep running his line through 3 and 4, edging towards the outside to follow DJ Kennington, but still looks fairly undecided out there.
Jake Sheridan just off the left rear right now, so we watch Dave Bailey, Cameron, and DJ Kennington work it down the back stretch with 28 laps, make it 27 this time by to go.
The top 3 drivers just ran the extreme bottom coming off of turn number 4, down into 1 and 2, up on the high side of the racetrack, and Lapsevich will ease that car down the track as we got a couple near the back rubbing it up. That's Michael Gowdy and LP Dumoulin. Look at that in 3 and 4. He goes in on the outside of 3, goes right down to the bottom in turn 4 as Glenn Steyer's around backwards in the second turn. Oh boy, he is stopped sideways under green.
That will put us back under the caution flag. And the one thing different for a regular Friday night fan that may be seeing their first NASCAR race tonight, These drivers all have spotters, so they are at least not going into the corner blind, not knowing that there's a car spun out there. So a little bit different. Even though the caution flag's not out and they don't want to let up that speed, they at least know something's going on. On a Friday night, that's a different story. You got to throw the yellow, or these drivers don't know what they're getting into.
And I give Chris Wright the benefit of the doubt. He's a good race director. He's called a lot of these races, and I think he has saved us from a lot of yellow flags. And I think he's done a good job out there with the decisions he's made.
Excellent. Honestly, I thought we were going to see a lot of caution flags caused by just what you said, but he's given the drivers the opportunity to get back going and limit the amount of caution flag laps we've had to have here tonight.
But I do believe the pucker factor there to Glenn Steyer's had to be a good 7 or 8 on the meter.
Coming down to crunch time.
And for those of you new, you see on the screen those blue lights. They adorn the house of Glenn Steyers, the track owner, Canadian Motorsport Hall of Famer. He built his land of dreams right in his backyard. And I'm not sure if he could have imagined 25 years ago when he built this place, a little bit more than that, in fact. Hosting a NASCAR sanctioned event here, a national touring event. Is Trevor Monahan going to get his lap back with the free pass?
Boy, since Trayton Lapsovich got by Marc-Antoine Camirand, he has not looked back, and the restarts have been a big part of that.
He really does a good job waiting until he's got the best opportunity to fire in a straight line. And even if you just gap the next car behind you by a car length, it just gives you that little bit of cushion going into the corner. Because we've seen further back in the field, when you're stacked up, bad things can happen. We're going to double them up this time and set them loose. 79 laps complete of the scheduled 100. Dave Bailey up to the 7th spot in that 36 machine. From nearby Hagersville, Ontario, he races here at Ohsweken Speedway on every Friday night that the Thunder stocks are on the card, which is just about every Friday night, Greg.
Just to be up in the top 10 right now, this is what we all hope for as home track regulars, to see Dave have a good solid run, but it's long from over. This is where things heat up. We're just outside of 20 laps left to go, and things are going to get dicey.
Stuart Friesen squeezing Trayton Lapsovich as high as he can towards the wall, keeping him pinned up to the outside. They'll race side by side through 1 and 2. Friesen with the advantage off the corner.
Yeah, that worked for Stuart Friesen. Here he is going into corner 3. Lets up just a little bit. Now has to back out of the throttle. He'll cut it down low. Lapsovich is going to lead the lap, though.
He forced Lapsovich into a spot where Stuart Friesen can try to steal Trayton's line off of turn number 4. Lapsovich was up to the challenge. He'll maintain the lead. Here goes Jake Sheridan up into the 3rd spot. Teammates Marc-Antoine Camirand and Andrew Ranger race side by side for 4th.
Right behind them is DJ Kennington, Gary Clute, Dave Bailey, Kevin Lacroix. As one goes around, it's Michael Gowdy.
We'll see if Gowdy's able to grab a gear and carry on. He's got Aaron Turkey streaking in behind him. And I believe this will draw a yellow flag. Yellow is out.
There's Gowdy down there in corner number 4.
You get to a point in the night, Greg, where these engines have built up so much temperature, they're so hot that the starters just won't turn them over anymore. And you also get to a point where a driver might be waiting for a yellow.
And he gets it fired, and we'll never know.
And we also have to add, sometimes the safest thing for a driver to do when you've spun out is stay still. You know, you might think, oh, I can spin around and keep going. Maybe there's one straggler you didn't think about, and that's going to destroy your race car. So there's a lot to keep in mind that we might see from our vantage point that's different when you're in the driver's seat.
Look at them all riding around the rim. Up in 3 and 4, up where that moist, cool clay would still be. As Trayton Lapsovich continues to lead over Stuart Friesen, and I really liked what Stuart Friesen did on that restart. You talked about that, Adam. He really pinch Trayton up there and put him in a spot I don't think he really wanted to be by the time they got to corner number 1. Cat and mouse on these restarts.
It's just been fun to watch. I mean, it's racecraft. There's a lot of play behind the wheel and different things a driver can do. Flagger Mike Charret encouraging the drivers to stay up behind the pace truck. Folks, if you like what you see, there are various official pages, NASCAR.ca. Obviously a great place to get your information, but there's also some fan pages as well. The Pinty's community page, Pinty's Series Community, I believe it's called. Our friend Cam Harris from Stickers and Scuffs podcast. There's a lot of places you can go to keep up with what's going on, catch the latest news. I highly recommend it. These racers all come to the track with a fantastic story, different backgrounds, different credentials. But we have a collection of fantastic race car drivers with the NASCAR Pinty Series. 3 more races to go for the 2022 championship. Our points leader coming into tonight, having a very solid day, a very typical day. It's DJ Kennington, driver of that Super Clean 17, just quietly keeping himself near the front.
Watch this restart, see what Friesen and Lapsovich do. Friesen just drifts it up. Lapsovich kind of came down, said, "Nah, I'm not playing that game."
No, and Trayton's been around short track racing enough. He knows how to defend for that sort of thing. So he'll take the lead off of turn number 2. Ken Schrader kind of in no man's land in the middle of the racetrack. Jake Sheridan with a good start on the outside.
It's time by 84 laps on the board, 16 to go in the Pinty's 100. First ever running of this event on dirt for the NASCAR Pinty Series, and the top 2 break away a little bit from Jake Sheridan.
Good launch there for sure for the lead duo. Jake Sheridan up in the 3rd spot, and right behind him you got the hard-charging Marc-Antoine Cameron and Andrew Ranger. Ranger lost a bit of grip there coming off of turn number 4. It opens the door to DJ Kennington.
Oh, Ranger really slid up in corner number 1. That opened the door for DJ to slip on by. Here come Lacroix and Tagliani trying to do the same thing.
I almost wonder if Ranger has a tire going down. That car does not look the way it did before that yellow. As the laps continue to tick away, Ranger, who was recently in the 3rd spot, is dropping through this field.
14 laps left to go, and the real battle right now is for the 6th spot. Tagliani and Ranger door to door down into corner number 3. Lacroix right behind them.
Couple of the biggest names in Canadian motorsports, Ranger and Tagliani duking it out door to door down the front stretch. Right behind the 17 of DJ Kennington. Ahead of them, the top 4, all single file. And Tagliani going to clear the 27 of Ranger down the backstretch.
Yeah, top 5, make it 6, 7 now, all single file. You've got to go back to Lacroix and Lassard, where Lassard keeps cutting it down low. He seems committed to that down in 1.
Yeah, Rafael Lassard just trying something different, doing something the other drivers aren't doing. And if they mix it up high, it'll be an opportunity for them. But if they just keep running their line uninterfered on the high side, it looks like the high side is a faster option.
Well, Marc-Antoine Cameron led a good handful of laps to start this one off, and it was Trayton Lapsovich that finally got by him. And since then, it's been all car number 20 out in front. Stuart Friesen, Jake Sheridan, Cameron and Tagliani now inside the top 5.
Well, now it's Alex Tagliani on the march, like you say. He just broke into the top 5 in that number 18 machine. Let's see if he can gap DJ Kennington to close in on Cameron in the 96. Deeper in the top 10, Andrew Ranger alongside Gary Clute. Brandon Watson right behind him, and then it's Kenny Schrader and Dave Bailey side by side behind them.
Yeah, pack of racing going on right now with Ranger and Clute at the front of it, and Ranger goes up the hill just a little bit.
Trouble in turn number 4. Michael Gowdy spun out on the inside. That's going to bring a yellow as Trayton Lapsevich buzzes the left rear corner at Gowdy as he goes by. Well, race fans, we're down to the final 10 laps. What a story we have at the front. Who'd like to see Trayton Lapsevich from nearby Grimsby, Ontario pick up his first? It wouldn't be his first NASCAR Pinty Series win. Who'd like to see him pick up a popular win?
That would be his first on dirt.
Historic win. An historic win. I'm telling you, my brain is disengaged. It would be the first NASCAR Pinty Series win for Stuart Friesen. Who'd like to see Stuart Friesen come home with a win? Third place on the track, Jake Sheridan in that 64 machine, holding a pretty wheel out there today. Probably the most unblemished race car, his and DJ Kennington 17.
Just about to say, 3 cars have basically been in the top 5 for most of this race, and that's Lapsevich, Friesen, and Jake Sheridan. Then there's been a lot of comers and goers. You know, Marc-Antoine Cameron, yeah, he's up there in the top 5, but he also had his issues earlier on and dropped back a bit. So Sheridan's done an excellent job staying right up there with the top 2, kept his nose clean in a ride that he wasn't even scheduled to be in until yesterday afternoon, and it was pretty late in the afternoon when that was decided.
They did what needed to be done to get that car ready for Sheridan behind the wheel. And look at that. That was a quick yellow flag. 9 laps remain. We're going to double up the field and set them loose next time at a turn number 4. Stuart Friesen in the 22. He's been running Trayton Lapsevich up as high as he can on the racetrack to try to take advantage of some of the grip that's on the outside. That does leave a big opening to the inside if someone had the opportunity to take it. Let's see if Jake Sheridan has a plan on how to deal with this restart, because Trayton Lapsevich has been up to the task so far tonight.
Off they go into corner number 1. Stuart Friesen gets a good run off of corner 2 this time.
Side by side down the backstretch. Can't tell if there was much rub in there or not, but close quarters racing. Close to making contact there again in 3 and 4. They'll race side by side to the stripe. Lapsevich with a 2-foot advantage at the line.
Cameron's back up there inside the top 3 as he's worked by Jake Sheridan. Lassard's trying to continue to work on that bottom and see if he can make that work on the top 4.
Stuart Friesen still digging as hard as he can, working Trayton Lapsevich over. He's able to stay beside that number 20, but it's still Trayton Lapsevich leading the way with 6 laps to go.
It's all Lapsevich out in front. Friesen right there. Cameron now tucks back into the 3rd spot. Jake Sheridan right behind him. It's side by side for 5th. Here comes Friesen again. We'll work it down the hill. Trayton Lapsevich does the same.
And Lapsevich really pinching down on corner exit in turn number 4. He's got to be careful. Make sure he's clear the front bumper of the 22 of Friesen. They're going to be 3 wide momentarily for 3rd place. Now 2 wide with Jake Sheridan putting the pressure on Marc-Antoine Cameron.
Oh, look at that side-by-side battle with Cameron and the 64 is Sheridan. Sheridan's got the 3rd spot back. And Lassard, Tagliani right behind, and Cameron into the back end of the 64.
Yeah, Cameron doesn't put up with a lot of horseplay like that as he pushes Jake Sheridan down into the corner, but not able to rattle the youngster from Mount Bridges. Jake Sheridan hangs on to that 3rd spot. It just stacked things up for 4th. Stuart Friesen all over the back end of the 20 at Trayton Lapsevich.
He's trying everything he can right now. Stuart Friesen, you got to give him effort. He's tried high, he's tried low, he's tried cutting down. And it's just like that 20 machine's just that little bit better at this point, but still a couple of laps to go this time by.
2 laps left, and Rafael Lessard trying a slide job. He's going to go around in front of the field. Rafael Lessard sideways gets clipped by Ken Schrader. Yellow flag comes out. He was hustling. Rafael Lessard was trying to work that bottom groove, and race fans, I need a favor, race fans. I butchered the last one so bad. I need a reaction here. Who's ready for a green-white checker finish here at Ohsweken? Thanks, folks. I owe you one for that. "98 laps complete on the board. Trayton Lapcevich has held off his challenges from Stuart Friesen. Friesen, a hired gun brought in here to help sell some tickets. A home area driver, done good, just a great young man. He now lives down in Sprakers, New York, where he runs dirt modifieds. He runs NASCAR trucks, as we see on the replay. Kenny Schrader did a nice job to not make that a whole lot worse. But Stuart Friesen's roots are up here in the Golden Horseshoe, Ransomville Speedway in Western New York, Merrittville Speedway, Humberstone Speedway. He's raced Can-Am midgets, which race all over New York and Ontario. So he's a hired gun brought in to take home the glory and put in a very good ride. I mean, 22 racing is about as good as they come. A great opportunity for Friesen. Of course, they also prepare the 20 of Trayton Lapcevich.
He's tried everything. I mean, I'm sure he's got some more tricks up his sleeves, but he's given it his all.
Well, I'll tell you, what you're not going to see is Stuart Friesen wreck Trayton Lapcevich to win a race.
Yeah.
Money on the line or not, he understands points racing. He understands he's a visitor to this series. He's going to try everything he can to win this thing. But I don't think you'll see. I don't think you'll see him step out of line. 1 to go at the line. 98 laps complete. It is going to be a 2-lap dash to the finish. Lapcevich, of course, going to restart on the outside. Stuart Friesen to his inside. Row number 2. It'll be Jake Sheridan in the 64. It'll be the 96 of Marc-Antoine Cameron. DJ Kennington back up in the top 5 in that 17 alongside a hard-charging Alex Tagliani. A lot can happen in 2 laps, Craig Calnan.
That it can. Get ready, folks, as they work off a corner number 4. This is it to settle it. Lapcevich on the outside, Friesen on the bottom. What games will they play here coming to the green?
Well, Friesen right up alongside that number 20 of Lapcevich. He's been for a restart. Contact in turn number 2. They'll race down the back straightaway side by side. Lapcevich and Friesen each driving deep into turn number 3, looking for bite. The white flag is being displayed.
Across the line they go. Friesen working the bottom. Lapcevich up top. Here they go through 1 and 2 for the final time. Friesen's got a good run and a good launch off of 2 down the backstretch, Adam.
Trayton Lapcevich got a little bit loose going into turn number 1. That allows Friesen out front. Trayton Lapcevich crosses him over. Gets onto the throttle. Contact in turn number 4. They'll drag race side by side. Lapcevich takes the win. Friesen second. Jake Sheridan third. Holy moly, what a finish. My goodness, what a show. What a battle between a couple of young racers from Southern Ontario.
Left front flat for Stuart Friesen. Watch this final lap as they go down into corner number 1, Adam.
For those watching on the stream, taking advantage of the replay, Trayton Lapcevich got a little bit squirrely in turn number 1. Friesen had him completely cleared into 3. Lapcevich crossed him back over. And I mean, that was just rubbing. That was not dirty racing. That was rubbing. Harder contact off of turn number 4, and Trayton Lapsevich. A little bit of shenanigans with Michael Gowdy and Trevor Monahan coming across the start-finish line. Trayton Lapsevich parks that car down in front of Quick Victory Lane. Stuart Friesing going to bring the 22 car down as well, and so will Jake Sheridan. And I have a feeling all 3 of these drivers are going to appreciate the run they just had. And it looks like, Greg, we're going to do a 50-50 draw down there as well.
Yeah, we're going to get these 50-50 tickets there for someone to draw, and we'll give away our prize of nearly $6,000 here tonight.
Show him some love, race fans. Trayton Lapsevich on a victory lap. He earned this one. We talked about a lot of drivers for this race, the Pinty's 100, history being made. We talked about a lot of race car drivers coming in here to take the money. We did not spend a lot of time talking about young Trayton Lapsevich, Greg.
No, and it's not for the lack of talent, but some of the other drivers came more to the forefront. And Trayton, we shouldn't be surprised at all that he pulls it off. This kid can wheel anything, and here he is doing the victory donuts up in corner 4.
A fireworks display for the ages. And Trayton Lapsevich going to roll down into victory lane, where Clinton Jeffrey will be on hand to greet him. Spencer's Clint going to be on RPA. Will we be? I know we're not on the PA. Doing his interview for TSN. And we will get a word from our race winner momentarily.
All right, we have our 50-50 winning ticket number. You can claim this at the base of the flag stand. $5,805.50 to 93760. 93760. If you have that winning ticket, go to the base of the flag stand and claim the prize.
93760. That number come up here right away. 50-50. 5,800.
Well, folks, don't forget, as we try to get things sorted out in victory lane, the party will carry on in the pits afterwards.
top three down here in victory lane. We'll be right back to you about 30 seconds time with that, guys. Just want to mention the 50-50 once again. Winning number 93760 for $5,805. Once again, 93760, the winning 50-50 number.
We need Jamison Cullen to the announce tower, please. Jamison Cullen to the announce tower, please. We've also found a cell phone, so if you can come to the announce tower and claim your phone, look in your pocket, see if you've got your cell phone, come to the announce tower and claim your phone, please.
We'll get ready to talk to Jake Sheridan. Third place here tonight, Jake. Solid run for you in your first ever NASCAR series debut. What a drive for you as a fill-in in this 64 car.
Absolutely amazing, and I'm just kind of speechless. We're just super honored, super thankful for everyone that gave me this opportunity. Super happy to be here. It's kind of obviously my Pinty's debut. Never sat one before. A little bit of my sprint car debut. I ran some go-karts when I was really young. That's about it. So this is a crazy experience. I was just super thankful, and everyone that puts this on here, all Gilly sponsors, Lilo and RGC, IHL, those guys. I think they do great things for the sport. NASCAR. I think this is really awesome for the sport. I think this is really healthy for NASCAR Canada. And, I think it was a great show. It was definitely a little hairy for us. I thought it was pretty hairy right in the middle of the race. I think it was a great show for the fans. And like I say, super pumped. This is a dream of mine to run this series. And I'm so happy to get a little bit of a break here today. I hope in the future I can make this a full-time thing. This is just really like racing all these guys, a great group of guys, and super thankful. So everyone that was involved, can't thank them enough, and hopefully we can do this a little more often.
Right on, Jake Sheridan comes home third in Pinty's dirt race. All right, let's talk to our winner, Trayton Lapsevich. Trayton, what a drive here. Let's talk about it. How about it for your winner tonight, ladies and gentlemen, Trayton Lapsevich. Trayton, what a drive. You know, on dirt. Something you're not comfortable with, but you look pretty darn comfortable out there tonight.
Oh, just awesome night. Just a big thanks to my whole 22 racing crew. The FPM Quick RGC Sports number 20 was fast both days, and I'm happy we could get it done. I mean, all those restarts, I was getting a little nervous. It's not easy having Stuart freezing on your heels. So just drove it for all I had, and we came up number one. So.
He was trying to rattle your cage at the end. What were you thinking?
You know, I was just, I was trying to hold my own, didn't want to loop the thing, and I set myself up to just drive him hard into turn 3 and come out with the win.
Congratulations, you win the biggest purse in the history of the NASCAR Pinty Series, $25,000. Congrats.
Thank you. I also just got to say a big thank you to Glenn Stiers and all of Ohsweken Speedway for making this happen. You know, I think most of the series was leery when we heard we were going on dirt, but this was a blast and can't wait to do it for the years to come.
Congratulations, the winner of the Pinty's 100, Trayton Lapsevich. Let's get over here and talk to Stuart Friesen. Stuart, what a drive today. You know, second here, you took your best shots at young Trayton, but he's a teammate, so you had to be a bit careful on that. But what a drive you had in a car that you're not used to.
Yeah, no, awesome night for Team 22. He did everything he needed to do and probably a little bit more, but it is what it is. I knew if I could just control his exit a little bit off of 2 and off of 4, we could inch ahead, and we were, and then he crossed me up, and it was what it was. So wild finish. Pretty cool to have an awesome finish on the dirt here at Ohsweken. Really happy to be here. Thanks to everybody here at Ohsweken for having us up. Mr. Transmission, Quick. Got to see John and Wendy from Core Pack, so that was pretty darn cool. I haven't seen them in 3 years. And we love all you guys. We appreciate the support, and hopefully we'll be back to do it again some more.
3-year contract on this, Stu. We got 2 more years. You better come back.
Hell yeah, I'm here.
Canada's own Stuart Friesen, ladies and gentlemen, will come across in second. Thank you so much to all you fine fans for coming out. That'll do it down for trackside. We're getting ready to have a bit of a pit party tonight. Thank you so much for being here.
Well, that wraps things up from Ohsweken Speedway, where tonight history was made with the Pinty's 100 and Trayton Lapsevich taking a win in exciting fashion with Stuart Friesen hot on his heels. On behalf of Greg Calden and Clinton Jeffrey, I'm Adam Ross saying so long, have a safe trip home, and thanks for coming out. The party will carry on in the pits. Good night, everyone.